So WWE Backlash 2025 has officially concluded, and I think I can speak for a lot of people when I say that Backlash this year really felt, at least coming into it, it really felt underwhelming. You kind of felt like, what's the purpose of this PLE so close following WrestleMania? There was almost like zero hype. Heading into this PLE, we were promised, of course, the big-time main event match between John Cena and Randy Orton here for the WWE Championship. And I'm going to be honest, going into this match, I was 100% skeptical of what sort of match we were going to get between these two guys, because back in the day between Cena and Orton, they weren't really known for having all that great of match chemistry. Sure, they've been paired up numerous times back in the past, but they never really had any sort of big time standout matches that you can really go back and watch and be like, yeah, that was a fantastic match, that was a technical masterpiece, or whatever it may be. And now in 2025 things are a little different, so going into this match I kind of expected not as much. My expectations were at zero for the most part, but going into this match, I actually really enjoyed this match between Cena and Orton. I really enjoyed this match if you compare it to the Cena and Cody match that we got a month prior at WrestleMania, which really kind of lends the question as to why that main event was super underwhelming, that being Cody Rhodes against John Cena. This match, the only thing I will say regarding the Cena Orton match was the numerous amount of RKOs and the numerous amount of ref bumps. I think it was like a half a dozen at a certain point. I feel like if you cut down the amount of ref bumps and the amount of RKOs and AAs that we saw, and maybe kind of just limit them to a couple, I think this match would have been an all-timer. But still, regarding the match, it was going to be amazing simply because of the fact of where they were at, and that being St. Louis, Missouri, that being Randy Orton's hometown. Randy Orton got a monster reception as he walked out. The crowd was singing along with his song, and honestly, when you watch at home, it's kind of difficult not to sing along as well to these entrances, especially Randy Orton, especially the history of him wanting people to sing his entrance or whatever. But the end of the match concluded with John Cena. He's about to get punt kicked by Randy Orton when all of a sudden R-Truth shows up and tries to defend John Cena, because in his eyes, John Cena is still John Cena of old. He's still the franchise player. He is the last real champion in his eyes, and he's still sort of manipulated by John Cena in a sense. And I've heard this theory thrown around whether R-Truth was going to get involved in this match. And I think, they purposely put those segments between R-Truth and Jimmy Uso a few weeks ago and a few days ago with him sort of trying to get Cena's back and stay on Cena's back. And I think really when you look at it, it does make sense, I guess, for the character of R-Truth. I get how people would look at that finish and be a little underwhelmed. But regardless, John Cena walks away still the 17th World Heavyweight Champion, the 17th WWE Champion, as we move forward to Saturday night's main event in about 2 weeks or so. So as far as the match, I really enjoyed this match. I thought the match really exceeded my expectations for certain. Now, as far as the main event, that was the main event. Now, as far as the opening match, we started off with a explosive and with a heavy, fun match between Jacob Fatu, LA Knight, Damian Priest, and Drew McIntyre. This match was chaotic. At the end of the match, Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest brawl off onto the stage equipment around ringside. They end up disappearing after Damian Priest, south of heaven, choke slams Drew McIntyre onto two tables. Jacob Fatu gets an assist from Solo Sikoa, who Solo Sikoa then calls in Jeff Cobb, a new signing. Jeff Cobb has officially signed with WWE and is going to be in this Bloodline faction, what's left of this Bloodline faction at this point. He aids Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu is sort of, here, and he doesn't really know what to make of this whole new alliance, because I guess in kayfabe wise, Jacob Fatu was never really told of this new alliance between Jeff Cobb and the Bloodline. And Jacob Fatu does get the win. He is still the U.S. champion, but there's sort of these lingering tensions between Jacob Fatu, Solo Sikoa, and Jeff Cobb. I fully predict this is going to be the babyface run that Jacob Fatu is going to embark on. I feel like After, these two guys, Solo and Jeff Cobb, team up, that's going to be sort of Solo's new enforcer. What Jacob was at a time, that's going to be what Jeff Cobb is now. And they may officially, force out Jacob Fatu and causing him to be a babyface down the road. Next, we move on to Lyra Valkyria against Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. I thought this match was very excellent, very good. The only sort of nitpick I would have was the finish. The finish kind of came out of nowhere. It was a roll-up from Lyra Valkyria, and she got the win over Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch immediately, like not even a second passed by, immediately got her heat back on Lyra Valkyria, attacked her post-match, and I am, as well as other people, are led to believe that this match is probably we're probably going to see this match once or twice again in the future. I really would have suspected that Becky was going to win and Bayley was going to come out and confront her afterwards, or maybe Bayley was going to come out and confront her during the attack. But regardless, I don't think you've seen the last of these two women. Next, we move on to Penta against Dominic Mysterio. I think this is probably I don't want to be hypercritical, but I think this was probably the weakest match, simply for the fact of two main factors. One being the timing issue. I feel like this match, it got short amount of time compared to the other matches on this show, and the overbooking of it, right? You had Carlito out there, you had Finn Balor, you had JD McDonough, you had Grande Americano, which I always get a kick of Grande Americano coming out and screwing up these luchadors. He literally interferes, costs Penta the opportunity for the Intercontinental Championship, headbutts him. We are led to believe that he has that steel plate inside his mask, as Dominic Mysterio gets the win with the frog splash. So Dominic is still the Intercontinental Champion. Again, I don't know whether or not they're going to do Penta against Grande Americano going forward, whether or not what's going on with Finn and with Dominic at this point. And lastly, we move on to Gunther against Pat McAfee. Another match where going into this, you kind of have your expectations a little bit lower simply because of who's in ring, that being Pat McAfee. And, to his credit, he really showed up here. He took some hard hits from Gunther. Gunther came at him. Michael Cole, I think, was kind of a major factor as to why this, I think, really worked. Michael Cole started off the match saying that, in this match, it's going to be a different Michael Cole because I am going to be heavily biased for Pat McAfee. I want Pat McAfee to win. He was on his side. He was telling Gunther numerous times to end this match, to just be done with it. Michael Cole even gave a quick assist to Pat McAfee as Gunther is getting pinned. Michael Cole grabs the leg, but Gunther kicks out. My heart skipped there for a second. I thought maybe they're going to have Pat McAfee go over on Gunther here, but Gunther at the end chokes Pat McAfee out. Pat McAfee tries to put up a good fight, but he ends up getting choked out, passes out. Michael Cole and Pat McAfee afterwards are standing in the ring. Gunther sort of gives a nod of respect, and that's how Gunther and Pat McAfee ends as Michael Cole heads back to ringside. So overall, I would say Backlash here was a really enjoyable 2 to 3 hours. I feel like we really kind of overjudged it for what it was. I feel like the stories, obviously, some of them were rushed. I feel like they could have done a little better with that. But as far as the matches, I feel like for the most part, they were really fun matches to watch here on this Saturday evening. So let me know what you guys thought of Backlash 2025 from St. Louis, Missouri. Let me know your thoughts and your reactions below to everything that we saw here tonight. Until next time, take care, and I will see all of you on the next one.